Of Between the Lines. Milwaukee will host the 2020 Democratic National Convention. Party leaders making the announcement yesterday, and that highlights the battleground state of Wisconsin that helped elect President Donald Trump, now launching an opponent who could oust him. Democratic National Committee Chairman Tom Perez choosing Milwaukee over Houston and Miami. We are going to get reaction today on this program. We'll talk with our political analyst, retired Ripon College political science professor Marty Farrell. He'll join us shortly after the bottom of the hour. We'll get reaction from local Republicans. The chairman of the Republican Party of Fond du Lac County, Ron Bishop, will join us on the program. And a former delegate to the Democratic National Convention from Fond du Lac, Tom Kitchen, will join us on the program. We'll get his reaction. He'll join us in the studio a little bit later on in the show. The spring election is less than 3 weeks away. There are a handful of contested races, including a contested race for Fond du Lac City Council, where 6 candidates are vying for 3 open seats, and we are interviewing the candidates on the program this week. Joining us in the studio on the first segment of the program this morning, former Fond du Lac City Council member Derek Terbeest and challenger Alicia Hands. And good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you for having us on today.
And it's a pleasure having both of you on the program. And let's start by having both of you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, why you are running for City Council. Derek, tell the listeners, we were talking before we went on the air, you were born and raised in Waupun?
Yeah, in the Waupun area.
All right. Tell the listeners about yourself.
Sure. So I grew up in the Waupun area, in the little small town of Alto, if anybody knows that one. Grew up there, went to school there, went to college in Illinois, and came back to the area where I grew up, and now I've been in the city of Fond du Lac for a little over 9 years. Have a job in Ripon, selling cars, financing cars at an auto dealership there. I was excited to run my first time 3 years ago. It was a lot less people running, so the campaign was a lot more boring, you could say, when there was not as many people running. Not a way to differentiate yourself as much. So it's been cool to see in this campaign all the different events that we have and ways for the candidates to meet and talk about the issues.
All right. And Alicia, you were telling me off microphone that you are from the Fox Valley,
Yes.
in the Neenah area.
Yes, sir, Greg. I grew up in Neenah, went to Neenah High School. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm really excited to be here and have this opportunity to talk with you this morning and to run for the Fond du Lac City Council. Like Derek said, it's been a really exciting opportunity for us to get to know each other and for as many people as there are to be involved and informed about local government.
Are you married? Do you have any kids?
No, I am not married and I don't have kids. I have cats and chinchillas. Yeah. Yes.
Chinchillas?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So how did you get interested in running for City Council?
So I have always really wanted to contribute to my community in a bigger way, more than just the impact that I can have in direct practice. I studied social policy, legal studies in college. I have a master's in social work, and I've always served my community the best way that I've been able to, and the opportunity to be a part of local government and to represent my city and my neighbors on the community level is a really exciting opportunity for me, and I'm really looking forward to what's to come for the city of Fond du Lac.
All right. Derek, what about, did you serve 1 or 2 terms?
1 term of 2 years, yeah.
All right. And why did you decide to get back in the race?
Just watching the decisions that council makes. The thing I care about the most, my whole reason for being on council and coming back, the main thing, just watching the way our city spends money, both on economic development and on our overall budget and the big projects that we do. I've seen some big projects come through that I thought were great investments, and there's some projects that have gone through that I thought were overspending. And one thing I wanted to make sure, get back on council and get back in the mix to just make sure the city's money is spent correctly and our taxpayer money is safer.
All right. Well, let me ask you that. What if you are elected to the council? What would your top priority be?
Top priority, we have the opportunity in the next couple of years to actually stop raising taxes. We've seen our property tax as a result of council go up the past few years. That's not something that has to continue. A lot of the reason that our taxes have gone up is due to debt payments made in old debts. We used to borrow money for 20 years on things that wouldn't last 10 years. The city's in a much better position to do our borrowing in the future. So old debt payments are going to fall off and our debt servicing will go down. That's going to allow us a little more room on our budget. So the main focus for me is making sure that what money of that leftover we spend is spent well, but also making sure we can stop the increases of property tax on that too.
All right. And Alicia, what about you? If you are elected to the Fond du Lac City Council, what would your top priority be?
My top priority would be to promote the City Council and the issues that come forth to be decided and addressed and discussed. I really value transparency in local government and as well as nationwide politics, and I want to inspire community members to become more engaged and enthusiastic about what's happening in Fond du Lac and take more pride in the city we live in and promote Fond du Lac as a safe, attractive place to live and visit. Yeah.
Do you feel that's the case right now?
I do. I believe that Fond du Lac is a safe and attractive place to live. I didn't grow up in Fond du Lac. I moved here about 2 years ago. And as you said, I grew up in the Fox Cities, and living in the Fox Cities, I never thought about visiting or living in Fond du Lac. When I visited here downtown a couple of years ago, I loved what was happening. I loved that I could walk to a coffee shop or walk to a restaurant, visit Lillian's on Main Street, and now I live downtown. So I just live a couple blocks from downtown, and when it's not below zero, I can walk a couple blocks to visit the local businesses that are unique to the city and enjoy just being a part of the community here.
All right. Derek, do you think it's a safe community?
Yeah,
in general?
I would say overall it's a very safe community. The police in any town of this size are going to have problems that they have to, chase after, make sure to root out drug crime and other issues. And every community has its domestic violence problems that we need to solve. But overall, for the safety of the citizens walking around, yeah, I believe it's a very safe community.
All right. I've asked council candidates this in the past, and I want to get your thoughts on this. So both of you graduated from high school about roughly 15 years ago. So I want you to kind of pretend like you're in a timeshare and look 15 years down the road into the future. How do you envision Fond du Lac looking 15 years from now? Derek?
The one thing that I'd say for sure, thriving small businesses. And I think we're doing a good job right now promoting the small businesses, taking over abandoned buildings. The city's been helping some of the small businesses here with some financial incentives on taxes and everything. And what it's done is really drive more investment to our downtown and other parts of our community. This isn't a city that's necessarily full of big chain restaurants everywhere or big chain stores everywhere. We have a lot of local economy stuff going on here, and I'd love to see that continue and develop and become an even bigger part of our community.
Alicia, what about you? How do you envision Fond du Lac down the road 15 years?
Yeah, I see Fond du Lac as a thriving place to be. I see that we're moving in an upwards direction and attracting young professionals like myself to live here. I see more opportunities for residential living downtown. I see local businesses popping up here and there and thriving, and the walkability for residential locations, and just being able to engage in community, more community events, getting people out there. And our park is just beautiful. We have many parks. Lakeside Park is on the lake, and I see this as being a really exciting, vibrant place to bring your family and stay here.
At the last Fond du Lac City Council meeting, the council discussed a concept plan for a brand new pavilion that's going to be built at Lakeside Park. And the pavilion right now is located on Proman Drive near the channel. The new pavilion is going to be air conditioned. It's going to be moved back a little bit closer to the lake, closer to the channel. The parking lot's going to be a little closer to Proman Drive. The architect who designed the new pavilion has experience in this area. A pavilion is a pavilion. It's kind of utilitarian. If you've been at national parks or state parks, you know what a pavilion looks like. The park board looked at it. They signed off on it, thought it looked great. The architect was following the direction of staff. Members of the city council said, we don't like what we see. We wanted something to pop in Lakeside Park. We wanted something to attract people to the park, to come to Fond du Lac, to go to the pavilion. And the Public Works Director was caught a little bit off guard and said, well, let's wait until after the new council is seated, hold a workshop session and see what the council thinks after the election. Do people go to Lakeside Park to go to the park and then ask, oh, by the way, do you have a pavilion? Or do they come to Fond du Lac and say, do you have a pavilion? And, oh, is it at Lakeside Park? What do you think? Should a pavilion in Lakeside Park stick out? Or should it blend in with the nature scape? Alicia?
That's a great question, Greg. And yes, so recently at the city council meeting, the majority of the members decided to take a step back and not follow through with the plans that were presented. What I heard is this is a lot of money. This is a $3.5 million proposal for a pavilion in the park. Is this the best way to spend these dollars in our community? Is building a pavilion and investing the money what the community wants? The exploratory committee put a lot of time into identifying items that were important to the community. And what the council is wondering is, you know, it's going to be a beautiful pavilion. They worked very hard, like you said, on the designs and the plans, and we're following direction. And at the same time, the council's wondering if, can we do something better? Can we make this more unique? Can we do something that brings people to the city to be excited about and also appease to people who are living here now to enjoy?
What do you think?
So that's a great question. I think that I agree with the majority decision that was made at the council meeting. I appreciate that they're being thoughtful in how they're spending this money, the allocation of these dollars, and some of the ideas proposed were an amphitheater, a restaurant, boating access. We have a prime location at the foot of the lake on Fond du Lac. And I think that we can do more with that money to attract visitors as well as create Fond du Lac Lakeside Park a place where people in the community want to go and spend money and are proud to say that they live down the road from Fond du Lac Lakeside Park and go there to visit.
You'd like to see them look at this a little closer. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Derek?
And actually, I'll take a little bit of the opposite track on that. I was very satisfied with what I saw in the design. I was part of the team that, you know, when Fond du Lac City Council sent the exploratory committee sent to council their recommendations, council worked together to put together a master plan of all the projects that were going to be there. We negotiated out kind of what scale we wanted that to be at, and where they ended up was about that $3.5 million is where the city staff took that. The proposed building, the proposed pavilion, definitely hits all the highlights that council asked for at the time and that was asked for by the exploratory committee. And I'm going to agree with you. I don't see the building itself as the attraction. I see the park as the attraction. The building needs to look good and be functional for everyone to use, and I think that the designers hit that pretty well. I'd like to talk with council about what changes they'd like to make, but honestly, I thought they did a great job coming forward with it, and I'd be ready to approve it with some discussion on it.
All right, I'll get you both out on this. when people go to the polls on April 2nd, why should they vote for Derek Terbeest?
Saving you money, making sure that our money is spent correctly. Saying it simply.
All right. And Alicia, why should voters vote for Alicia Hands?
I would ask for your vote on Election Day on April 2nd. I have a lot of enthusiasm about where Fond du Lac is headed. I want to inspire pride in our city and promote Fond du Lac as a safe, healthy place to live. And I want to listen to community members about what's important to you and further engage more community and transparency in local government to make this city a place where you are proud to live and proud to bring your families to if you don't live here yet.
Very good. Alicia Hands, Derek Terbeest, running for Fond du Lac City Council on April 2nd. Get out and vote. Thank you both for stopping by. Best of luck to both of you on April 2nd.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Meats and sausages.